What is going on, squad? Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics in all of fitness, and that is neuromuscular strength. So I think that I'm personally one of the poster childs for this because it's so funny, and I'm tied this beautifully into isometrics. Just hold on for a second. All right, so my legs aren't really that big. They've never really been that big. I think the most that they've ever been is 22.5, and that is recently, okay? But, you know, contrary to all of the funny skip leg day memes that sometimes I've been associated with, never once have I ever skipped, for one. And two, I've always piled up the weight, but I didn't do it in a way that stimulated hypertrophy. So I was always in the strength rep range, 5 or less. In the beginning, sure, I got that initial 3 sets of 10 for years, built up that foundation, but then I started to find that I enjoyed training in that 5 rep range or low. So I just really like the grind of heavy freaking lifting for my legs. So take this squat for an example. So it was 405, a plie squat, because the time is when my knees are really starting to bug me. Okay, but I was coming down to parallel. I wish I had a side angle for you. I didn't have that great of equipment back when this happened, but it is what it is. So I'm able to come down and I'm tightening everything up, using some iso tension, glutes, core, everything. You see how red my face is? Everything to get that weight back up. 3 was all I could muster. Now I probably could have squeezed out more with the spotter, but I was always in that rep range. It wasn't enough for size. It was great for strength, clearly. All right, same thing with leg press. Leg press is like, it's ugly. It's like one of those freaking ego lifting, hey, look how much I can leg press. Okay, how much can you squat? I'm not gonna go into that, but anyway. All right, so I always load that up wisely. I never threw stupid weights that I just knew I was gonna get folded on, right? So over time, you'd get situations like this where this is maybe like 5 years ago or whatever. The first time I hit 1,000 at Planet Fitness, and I'm sorry, like 900 at Planet Fitness, and it just doesn't seem like, I'm looking at it here and it just doesn't seem like my legs are capable of that. They look like chicken legs, but then the weight comes down, it comes back up nice and parallel, boom. Nothing like super crazy like knees all the way up behind my ears or anything like that. I'm not trying to have my lower back come off and get crushed, but my point is this: I trained to the point where my legs were able to move that weight. Leg extension, same thing. I maxed that out years ago. It's not a flex. I'm just telling you this because it's going to tie into what we're going to talk about, all right? Because my legs are not really big, but they were never weak. 300 pounds on leg extension, no problem. Leg curl, lying prone, no problem. 200 maxed out. Sometimes I even add the 5, the little extra drop down Jones for those. No problem at all. Why did they not grow? Now, am I going to see some size gains? Of course, I'm going to see some size gains. They did grow because they were skinnier when I was younger. I mean, thin. So the muscle adaptations and size were definitely an increase from base, right? But it was never this. Now, these legs here, they are huge, okay? These are pro bodybuilder legs, and I just do not have that. I have not taken my legs to absolute failure, and that's why they didn't look like that. But here's the difference: just because they're not big to a certain extent, that does not mean that they're weak. Now, if you don't train with the right stimulus, if you don't have big legs, but you're not training with the right stimulus, then you're not strong either. Now your legs are small and they're weak. This is gonna tie into the iso chain perfectly, because when we talk about this overcoming isometric style of training, you're having a lot of people get on this type of strength training device, and they're getting really freaking strong, but they might not see huge size gains. Now, we covered isometric hypertrophy before. Now, here's a link. If you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check that one out. It shows what exactly needs to occur on the iso chain using the load mode and time mode features. The newsflash is not going to be 6 seconds. The strength 6-second YouTube shorts that a lot of the squad sees on the channel, those are for strength. The hypertrophy ones suck. They are 20 to 45 seconds of at a certain load. Remember, the load has to be at a certain level. Otherwise, it's just not going to stimulate a hypertrophic response. We could hold for 45 seconds, but if the load is only 30 pounds, what's that gonna do? All right, so we might need 150 pounds. Now try holding that for 20 to 45. Man, that is brutal. You are on fire. If you ever done a wall sit to fit, it's like that. All right, it has to be to failure with the right load. So going back to the neuromuscular strength, all right, so we're developing strength by working out at the highest level of the force velocity curve. It says absolute strength. How much strength can our muscle fibers produce? There is no movement at all. This is the pinnacle of what our body is able to produce. So for example, if you loaded up a deadlift bar and you put 600 on there, and you're not strong enough to move that, but you're pulling as if you could, that is overcoming isometric training. You're definitely going to get stares because most people don't know what style of training this is. They don't know what the hell you're doing, and that's fine. That's good for them. All right, but that's also good for you because you're going to get freaking strong doing that. All right, so when we set this up, right, our muscles are adapting to the style of training that we're doing, right? What I mean by that is that we are training our body to adapt to a high weight, low rep stimulus. And in this case, when we're talking about isometrics, that, you know, of course there's no weight, but we're training our body to contract at 100%. Remember, they're binary. They either know on or off. So when we're training at this higher level, okay, we are getting the maximal amount of tension that our muscles can produce. Now, what do you think is going to happen if we continually train that way? We are going to get a little bit of size, a little bit, all right, but we're mostly going to get huge strength. Now, think Bruce Lee, 135-pound man, launching somebody from where I'm sitting in my basement all the way to the freaking TV. I don't care how good your technique is. I might, like me, yeah, sure. Somebody might get folded over, all right, oh, you know, like get their breath knocked out, you know, or just get, you know, knocked out to the floor here. They're not going to get knocked out to the floor over there. Do you understand the power of training and muscles contracting at that high of a level? People usually don't train that way unless they're doing 1 rep max all the time, okay? So hopefully this is how you get that one punch man strength, all right? It's fictional, of course, but you get my point. But what are your thoughts? Have you ever heard of this style of training before? It's overcoming isometric training, but we cover why. So if you like the video, be sure to drop a like, go ahead and comment. If you're not yet part of the squad, hit the subscribe button. Come join the squad with us. See you next video. Peace.